A man set a gold chain on my counter, grinning, and told me he had beaten the system. Bought it on vacation, half of what it would cost at home, haggled the seller down in some sunny market across the world. Then I weighed it, tested it, and had to tell him the truth. It was not half price. He had overpaid on a chain stamped 2 carats higher than it actually was. In 20 years behind a jewelry counter, I have seen hundreds of vacation purchases land on my bench, and they split almost perfectly in half. Half genuinely found a deal that would be impossible at home. Half were certain they found a deal and were wrong, sometimes by thousands. The difference is never luck, so today I am giving you the real map. The best countries on earth to buy gold and jewelry, the worst tourist traps engineered to drain your wallet, and one rule that protects you in every single one. By the end, you will walk into any jewelry market in the world and know exactly what you are looking at. We start with the most famous gold market on the planet. Number 1, Dubai. They call it the City of Gold, and unlike most nicknames in this industry, this one is earned. And it is the perfect place to learn the one idea that makes this entire video work, because the price of any gold piece is really 4 things stacked together. The metal at the world spot price, which is the same everywhere on earth. The make, meaning the labor and design. The tax. And whatever markup the seller adds on top, because you do not know the first 3. A tourist reads the final sticker and asks if it is cheap. You are going to take that sticker apart in every country and find out how big that last slice, the pure markup, really is. In Dubai, it is small, and here's why gold is genuinely cheaper here, and it is not a trick. Dubai charges 0 import duty on raw gold. Gold bars and raw material flow into the city tax-free from anywhere in the world, which is the entire reason it became a global trading hub. On finished jewelry, the only tax is 5% VAT. Compare that to the United Kingdom, where value-added tax is 20%, or India, where import duty and tax stack up well past 18%. And here is the part that makes Dubai unbeatable for a visitor, that 5% VAT is refundable to tourists. You spend a minimum, you ask the shop for a tax-free tag, and on your way out, you stop at the refund kiosk in the airport and claim it back. After the refund, a tourist is paying prices roughly 10 to 15% below Britain and 7 to 10% below India. The heart of it is the gold souk in Dera, over 380 shops packed into a few covered lanes, glittering from floor to ceiling. But do not let the spectacle switch your brain off, because even here, the make is where they get you. Making charges in Dubai come 2 ways. A flat rate, maybe 10 to 20 dirhams per gram, or a percentage of the gold value, often 6 to 14%. And that charge is negotiable, especially in the souk. So here's your Dubai rule. Do not haggle over the gold is fixed to the world price and everyone knows it. Haggle over the make. And if you want the best value, buy simpler pieces, because the more intricate the design, the higher the making charge climbs. Always get an invoice that lists the weight, the purity, and the VAT separately, and always look for the purity stamp, 22 or 24 karat. Here's a real example of how the tax actually works, because it surprises people. VAT in Dubai is charged on the whole invoice, the gold plus the make together. On a 10,000 dirham necklace, that is 500 dirhams of VAT. And as a tourist, you can claim back the large majority of it at the airport, roughly 425 dirhams back in your pocket. That is a real refund on a real purchase, not a gimmick. And know where you are standing, because Dubai has tiers. The gold souk in Dera is the traditional heart, hundreds of small shops, the most room to haggle the make, the best prices if you are willing to negotiate. The malls, Dubai Mall, and Mall of the Emirates, carry branded designers at branded prices with far less negotiation. And the airport duty-free is for last-minute panic buys, convenient and never the cheapest. Same city, 3 very different prices for the same gram of gold. Do all this, and Dubai lives up to its name. Number 2, India. If Dubai is where gold is cheapest, India is where gold is loved. Gold here is not a luxury. It is woven into the culture, into weddings, into dowries, into savings. Families buy it as an investment they can wear. That obsession means 2 things for you: an enormous selection and some of the most breathtaking traditional craftsmanship on earth, especially in high carat 22 karat gold. But the traps are real. On tax, you are paying 3% plus another 5% on the making charges, so it is not as clean as Dubai. And there are 2 specific things that catch tourists. The first is purity fraud. India has a national hallmarking system called BIS, and you buy hallmarked gold only, because without it, you are trusting a stranger's word, and the classic scam is selling you 18 karat gold stamped and priced as 22. The second trap is one almost nobody thinks about until it is too late: customs limits on the way home. Depending on the rules, a man can carry only a small amount of gold out duty-free, a woman somewhat more, and the moment you exceed it, the duty you owe erases every bit of the savings you thought you got. There's one more thing about India worth knowing. because it is where a lot of money quietly leaks away. The making charges on ornate traditional pieces can be enormous, sometimes rivaling the value of the gold itself, because the labor on intricate bridal work is genuinely intense. That is not always a ripoff. Elaborate handwork is real work, but it means two identical weight necklaces can have wildly different prices purely because of the make. So the same rule from Dubai applies here with even more force. Separate the metal from the make, ask what the making charge actually is as a number, and compare it shop to shop. So India rewards the traditional buyer who wants craftsmanship and weight, but only if you buy hallmarked, you understand the make, and you know your customs limit before you fly. Number 3, Thailand. Now we shift metals, because Thailand's real strength is not gold. It is silver and colored stones. The silver work coming out of the north, around Chiang Mai, is beautiful and genuinely affordable, and Thailand is one of the great colored gemstone hubs of the world, full of sapphires and rubies. And that is exactly where the danger lives, because Thailand is also home to one of the most persistent gem scams on the planet. It usually goes like this. A friendly local strikes up a conversation, mentions a special government gem sale, a one-day tax promotion, and helpfully points you toward a specific shop, sometimes even arranges the taxi. Inside, you are sold colored stones at a huge markup, and often they are glass, synthetic, or so heavily treated they are worth a fraction of the price, backed by a certificate that means nothing. So here's the rule, and it is the same one I have preached in my videos on fakes. Any colored stone worth real money comes with a certificate from an independent international laboratory, not an in-house paper, and you never, ever buy gems from a shop, a stranger, or a taxi driver steered you into. And know the specific ways the stone itself is faked, because it is not always a crude glass copy. Sometimes it is a real stone that has been so heavily treated, heated, fracture-filled, dyed, that its value collapses while it still looks gorgeous in the shop light. Sometimes it is a synthetic, grown in a lab, sold at natural prices. Sometimes it is a doublet, a thin slice of real stone glued on top of glass, which looks perfect from the top and falls apart under a loop from the side. A trustworthy dealer will let you take a stone to an independent lab before money changes hands. A pressure seller who needs the sale to happen right now, today, before the special tax promotion ends, is telling you everything you need to know by the urgency alone. The stones can be spectacular in Thailand. The pressure and the middlemen are the problem. Number 4, Italy. We are leaving the world of cheap gold entirely now, because nobody goes to Italy for a bargain on metal. You go to Italy for the thing that cannot be mass-produced, craftsmanship. This is the ancient home of European goldsmithing. Vicenza, Arezzo, whose connection to gold reaches all the way back to the Etruscans before the Romans, and Florence, where the shop windows along the Ponte Vecchio have sold gold for centuries. The filigree, the enamel work, the design, this is jewelry as an art form, and you pay for the artist and the design, not for a low metal price. The traps here are 2, and they are gentler than the gem scams, but they still cost you. The first is tax. Italy has a 22% VAT, the highest in Europe. The saving grace is that a non-European tourist can claim that entire 22% back on any purchase over about 155 euros, which turns a punishing tax into a real refund, so you must keep the paperwork and claim it at the airport. The second trap is the brand tax and the tourist strip. The pieces in the windows on the most famous tourist bridges carry the highest markups in the country. So here is your Italy rule. Walk away from the tourist strips and into the goldsmith districts of Vicenza and Arezzo, where you can buy closer to the workshop, often directly from people who actually make the piece, at prices the famous bridges will never match. Look for the 750 stamp, which marks 18 karat, and compare several shops before you spend €1. In Italy, you are buying art, so buy it where the artists actually work. If this map is already changing how you think about that dream vacation purchase, subscribe, because we are about to cross from the places where you can win into the places designed so that you lose, and the next country is where haggling becomes a full contact sport. Number 5, Turkey, and the legendary Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, one of the oldest and largest covered markets on earth. This place deserves its own chapter, because shopping here is not like anywhere else. It is theater, and if you do not know the script, you are the mark. Start with what is fixed and what is not. Gold and silver are sold by weight, tied to the world price, so there is very little movement on the metal itself. The entire game is played on the making charge and the stones. And the opening prices are not real. Vendors size up a tourist in seconds and open at 3 to 10 times what they will actually accept. This is not necessarily dishonest, it is simply the culture of the bazaar, but a first-time visitor who does not know it will overpay enormously. A couple of insider moves make a real difference here. Prices soften the deeper you go. The shops right at the busy entrances pay the highest rents and quote the highest tourist prices, while the quieter lanes deeper inside are often more willing to deal. Paying in cash frequently earns a discount, and shopping early can earn you what sellers call the first customer discount, a lucky to open the day price that is genuinely a thing. The way you play is you counter at 30 to 40% of the opening price, and you are always ready to walk away, because the moment you walk, a seller who is serious will call you back. Now the darker tricks, because the Grand Bazaar has a few that cross the line. There is the gold switch, where you inspect a real piece, and in the flurry of wrapping and paying, a fake is slipped into the bag instead. There is the most common scam in Istanbul, which is not a robbery at all, it is a relationship. A friendly, well-dressed local who studied abroad, who invites you for tea, who just happens to have a cousin with a jewelry shop, and once you are inside sipping that free tea, leaving without buying becomes socially painful. And there is the card machine trick, where the first swipe mysteriously fails and a second machine comes out. So here is how you survive the bazaar. Check the hallmark yourself. 9/16 or 22 karat stamped in the metal. Keep your eyes on your piece through the entire wrapping. Use a magnet because real gold is not magnetic, and treat any antique claim with suspicion, because a genuine Ottoman antique legally requires an export certificate from the Turkish Ministry of Culture, and without one, it is either a modern fake or illegal too. Take home. Play the game with your eyes open, and the bazaar is a thrill. Walk in starry-eyed, and it is a lesson. Number 6, and this one is a genuine treasure most tourists walk right past: Mexico and the silver town of Taxco. If you have watched my video on yard sale finds, you already know the name, because Mexican silver is some of the finest in the world. Taxco is the birthplace of Mexican silver craft, and here's the fact that stuns people. Authentic Mexican silver is often marked 950, which is 95% pure, even finer than the 92.5% sterling standard used almost everywhere else. But that quality is exactly why the fakes exist, so learn the marks. Real Mexican silver carries 925 or 950, and often the word Taxco, and the very best pieces carry the eagle stamp, the aguila, which is the government's mark of quality assurance, and the signatures of the master houses, names like William Spratling and Los Castillo that serious collectors chase. And here is the single most important warning for Mexico, the one word that costs tourists the most: alpaca, sometimes spelled alpaca. It looks like silver, it shines like silver, it is sold in tourist stalls that feel like silver. It is a nickel alloy with no silver in it at all. It has zero melt value. So in Mexico, your rule is simple. Pull out a magnet, because silver is never magnetic. Find the 925 or 950 stamp near the clasp, and if a piece is only marked Mexico with no purity number, treat it as plated or alpaca until proven otherwise. Real Taxco silver is a bargain and a joy. Alpaca in a beach stall is a keychain that thinks it is jewelry, so those are the places where a smart buyer wins. Now we cross the line into the traps, the places engineered from the ground up to take money from people whose brains are on vacation. And the worst offender floats. Number 7, the cruise ship jewelry trap. And I want to be very direct about this one, because the numbers are genuinely shocking. When your cruise line recommends a jeweler in port, understand what that recommendation is. Those stores pay the cruise line fees to be recommended to you, and the friendly shopping guide on board is often working on commission. It is a pipeline, and you are what flows through it. Here's what independent appraisers find when the passengers get home. A CBC Marketplace investigation found that jewelry bought at cruise port stores was frequently appraised, back home, at less than half of what the buyer paid. One buyer paid $3,800 for a ring that later valued under $2,000. Another couple bought a diamond they were told was nearly a full carat, and an independent appraisal at home found it was barely more than half that. The stone had been switched. And the appraisal they hand you in the store, the impressive document that says the piece is worth far more than you paid, that is not protection. It is part of the sale, an inflated number designed to make you feel like you won. The contracts are often written so that buyer's remorse is specifically not a valid reason for a refund. And because the store is overseas, once you are home, you frequently have no recourse at all. There is one more technical trick appraisers keep catching on these stones, and it is a clever one. Cutters add extra facets to the top of a diamond to pack more weight up where you can see it, which pushes the carat number and the price higher while actually hurting the diamond's brilliance. You are paying for weight that was engineered to fool the eye. Combine that with a switched stone, an inflated in-house appraisal, and a no-refund contract enforced from another country, and you can see why the same complaint pattern shows up again and again, year after year, from the same chains. So the rule for cruise jewelry is the easiest rule in this entire video. Take a photo, enjoy the show, and buy nothing. If you still want it, it will be waiting online when you get home, at a real price, from someone you can actually hold accountable. Number 8, the airport and the resort trap, the two cousins of the cruise scam. On airport duty-free, understand the difference. Duty-free genuinely saves you money on things like alcohol and perfume, but on jewelry, tax-free is very often just marketing, and the piece can cost more than it does at home, so the word duty-free is doing a lot of quiet lying. And the resort trap is the tour bus special. The guide who drives you to a silver factory or a gem workshop, the one place, conveniently, where they earn a commission on everything you buy. Inflated makes, glass sold as stones, alpaca sold as silver. The rule that ties both together is one line. Any shop that a guide, a driver, or a cruise line steered you toward is, by definition, paying for the privilege of selling to you, and you are paying for that privilege too. So across the whole map, from the honest souks to the floating traps, everything comes down to 5 rules that work in every country on Earth. Rule 1. Know the world spot price of the metal before you walk in on your phone, because gold is the same price in Dubai as it is in Detroit, and the metal is the one number nobody can lie about. Rule 2. Demand an itemized invoice that separates the metal, the make, and the tax. A seller who will not break the price into those pieces is hiding which piece is inflated. Rule 3. Haggle the make, never the metal. The gold is fixed to the world. The making charge and the markup hiding inside it is where every dollar of negotiation actually lives. Rule 4. Any stone worth real money comes with a certificate from an independent laboratory, and you never buy a gem from a shop someone else steered you into. Rule 5. And this is the one people skip, and it applies to every country on this list, not just India. Do the whole math before you buy, including the customs rules for getting it home. Most countries let you bring back only so much duty-free, and for an American that threshold is $800, above which you are supposed to declare the purchase and may owe duty when you land. On a modest piece, this is nothing. On an expensive one, that duty can eat a real chunk of the saving you flew home so proud of. So the honest truth is this: the cheaper Dubai or Italy price is a genuine deal on a few $100s of jewelry, a clean win you get to keep. On a very expensive piece, you have to subtract the duty you will owe at home before you call it a bargain at all. A deal that ignores the trip home is not a deal. And underneath all 5 is the same principle this whole channel is built on. The best purchase you can make anywhere in the world is the one you can verify yourself. Weigh it, read the hallmark, test it with a magnet, demand the certificate. A real deal survives that scrutiny. A tourist trap never does. Now let me be honest with you, the way I always am here, because I do not want you to leave this video afraid to ever buy anything abroad. The opposite is true. If you are traveling anyway, buying a piece of jewelry can be one of the best souvenirs there is, something with real value that you actually wear instead of a fridge magnet. In the right place, from a workshop in Arezzo or a silversmith in Taxco or an honest shop in the Dubai souk, you can come home with something beautiful, well-made, and genuinely fairly priced. And every time you put it on, you will remember the trip. That is a wonderful thing to buy. The whole point of this video is not do not buy. It is buy smart. Know which countries actually offer value and why. Know the local specialty, the Dubai gold, the Taxco silver, the Thai sapphire, the Italian craftsmanship, so you are buying the thing that place does best. And know exactly which part of the price is the gold, which part is the art, and which part is pure markup on a tourist, so that when you hand over your money, it is your informed choice, and never their trick. This channel takes no sponsorships and no paid placements. No jeweler, no tour company, no cruise line pays to be praised or buried here, and that independence is the only reason I can tell you to walk past the store your cruise recommended. If straight answers like this are why you come back, the join button below makes you a member and keeps these breakdowns honest. Now tell me in the comments, which country have you bought jewelry in, and what did you pay? Describe the piece and the price, and I will tell you, honestly, whether you found a deal or paid the tourist tax. I read every single one, and wherever you travel next, walk into that market knowing exactly what you are looking at. I'll see you in the next one.